Now that we've looked at manipulating single items in the array, it's time to look at how do we iterate over entire arrays themselves using a for loop. It's fairly straightforward to do. Let's go ahead and use a string because we're going to be using numbers a lot, and it's probably easier to keep track of stuff if we use letters and numbers as opposed to numbers and easily confuse stuff. So array of strings R is equal to new array of strings. So what should we do? Let's go ahead and say that R0 is equal to A, and then R index 1, R index 1 will be, let's go ahead and do that, copy paste, and hit the insert key, right? An insert key allows me to overwrite things. So that will be all 5 indices, 0 through 4, A, B, C, D, and E. And if we now print it using system.out arrays.toString, right? And this is, again, a function that converts any kind of array into to printing out the contents of the array as opposed to its memory location. And we get A, B, C, D, E, right? And what we have is that A is at index 0, B is at index 1, C 2, D at 3, and E at 4. Okay, so is there a way I can go through this array using a for loop? Yes, of course. I mentioned there was one. So the way that works is just a for loop the same way we would use it on a string with a slight difference. So for int I is equal to 0, so we want to start at index 0. I is less than array.length. So note that there's no parentheses as opposed to a string, which would have parentheses, right? R0.length. That would return, this would be equal to 1, right? That's because this is a method call, and this is a variable that's part of arrays, right? So r.length is going to be the length of the array. In other words, it's this number over here, 5. Why do we use array.length rather than just putting 5 in if we know it already? We should use it because what if I decide to change it later, right? Best to use variables where possible. I++, right? So we're going to go from 0 up to, but not including 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we'll just simply print out, I. Why don't we say why don't we put I, and we'll keep the symbol I, and then a tab, right? And then we'll print out array sub 0. Oh, array sub 0. Well, that printed out, again, computers, evil genies, will do exactly what you say. Array, so this will be 0, A, 1A, 2A, why A? Because I told it to print out array sub 0, not I. So this will print out I, and then what's at index I each time. So 0 in index 0, 1, and what's at index 1, B, 2, and C, and so on and so forth.